Hi everyone, it's Sarah from Tombale again, and today I'll be going over another portion about carving. This one's going to be a bit more technical because it's actually about learning how to read wood grain. All you need is to grab a bunch of blanks that you have at home, doesn't matter what size. Over here you can see I've got like long ones, flat ones, all sorts of things. You want to have your bench packs on hand as well for some of the exercises that I will be covering. And then it might be helpful as well if you can just grab like a bunch of irregularly shaped offcuts out of nowhere just for something trickier. You will need your chisels as well and maybe a marker just to take note of the sites that we're going to go into later. Yeah, that's about it. The grain of wood is actually identifying the three faces that I'm going to be introducing to you now. That is namely, actually it might be better to use this one. Namely the face grain, so that's the widest part of the blank that you have, and then we have the side grain. Maybe something thinner, the thickness of the block, and then we have these ends, so the toughest part of wood, end grain, and same thing on this side. The symbol for something irregularly, well, not irregularly shaped, but rectangular shaped like this, when you've got stock that's been squared up this way, then you just have the face grain and side grain would then be interchangeable. But important thing to note about wood grain is what it actually means. So wood grain actually refers to the longitudinal arrangement of fibers in wood. And this one here, pretty obvious. It's a Nyato block, and you can see everything is going straight this way. Same thing for this piece of pine. On all faces, actually, you can see it's very straight grained piece of wood, and you know exactly which direction the grain is running in. Even for this piece of ash, same thing. And Moranti, exact same thing. We know exactly that the directions of the grains in this, the longitudinal directions runs like that. You might get something more complicated, like this piece of swa over here, encountering knots, maybe interlocking grain, wavy grain, irregular grain, but let's go into that later. Being able to identify the three faces of the wood is kind of like the first step, but the reason why we want to do that is so we can actually understand the block of wood as a three-dimensional object, rather than thinking of it as like a face on a face, or a face beside a face beside a face. So again, we'll mark out face grain, see side grain, and end grain. The reason why I'm trying to explain the importance of seeing it as a three-dimensional object is because what appears to be running straight on this face and running straight on this face may not behave the same way when, say, you wanted to cut a corner from, you wanted to chamfer this corner down. Another thing you want to take note of, right, is actually the slope of the grain. So holding it like this, you can see this slight diagonal slope going downwards along the side of the block. This is known as the slope of the grain, and it's quite important later for when I begin showing you how to do some of the basic cuts and carving. Okay, so something a little bit more challenging would be to look at these irregularly shaped pieces. When they're not in a block, it's hard to identify, which which ones are the face grain, the end grain, the side grain, just because it's not rectangular. But they do have their characteristic properties. So if you look at this piece of Moringa, the longitudinal direction of the grain indicates that this is the face grain, and that's what I marked out over here. The kind of dotty, pore intensive portion, which represents the end grain, as you can see in examples like this ash over here, this swa end grain, this piece of pine. Yeah, end grain is pretty noticeable. It's just this very dense looking surface. And the interesting thing about this is that besides this, the side grain on one side, right? So you've got the face grain and the side grain running over here. We don't have a clear angled side grain over here. And what actually is happening is that you'll see a transition going from the end grain to the side grain. So what starts out as this very pory looking end grain travels and transitions into the more conventional wood fiber look that we have, is the long grains. And yeah, that's how we read irregular shapes. Even in the case of something round like that, like a ring blank, the first thing that you want to identify are how the grain is running. So in this case, it's the longitudinal direction is like this, which puts the face grain up here, over here. And where does that put the side grains? That would be somewhere here. And the end grains, where the longitudinal grain ends. So if you were to really scrutinize these bits at the end, you also notice the distinct pores that are recognizable of end grain. And yeah, being able to recognize all of this helps very much when trying to carve something smooth. When it comes to carving, there are 4 ways in which your tool can interact with the grain. Namely, along the grain, against the grain, across the grain, and end grain. So I'll go through each one of those and explain to you what it means. Just grab chisel over here. So the first one, along the grain, is kind of self-explanatory, because say now we're going to pick this surface over here, where it's got face grain and side grain, both very straight grained surfaces. And if I were to make a cut that follows along this surface, yeah, very smooth, combed over finish on the wood. So you'll note that we traveled in this direction along the grain, and we got this sort of finish. If I would do it in this direction, just because it's such a straight grained following both the fiber arrangement on the side face and on on the side and the face. So you note that when I went in this direction as well, this direction as well, I still produce a very smooth edge like that. And this is what happens when you move, when you cut along the grain. Okay. Next one would be the complete opposite, cutting against the grain. So when you cut against the grain, right, can be a bit deceiving or hard to understand at first, because you it's possible for you to be running back and forth along this and still be along the grain. But say we had something like this edge over here, and you'll notice that the angle of the grain here is kind of going something like that. Over here it's something like this. So for me to cut against the grain, I would have to make a cut that's something, aiming for something like this. So cutting across the natural arrangement of the fibers. And what happens is I'm gonna get these flakes just lumping out uglily. You can see where the fibers just kind of give up, pop out. The reason for that is because we're not following the grain, we're going like defiantly against it. So in this case, a cut in this direction, basically transversing these clearly marked out pine grain lines, and that will produce a cut, a very rough cut, and that would be against the grain. And the next cut that we're going to look at is actually called across the grain, which means that it kind of like will sever these longitudinal fibers, but not offend it in this direction. Hence you're not kind of like going against the grain, you're just going across it, like across the road. And I still produce quite a clean cut, unlike the going against the grain. So in this case, the direction of the cut is something more like okay, you know what I mean. And the last one, which is just called end grain cut, pretty self-explanatory. That means we would be cutting perpendicular to the longitudinal grain, and that would, for something like but yeah, you can see the shiny result that it does produce on the end grain. And yeah, so basically it cuts in any direction up here, we just call it end grain cut. But yeah, these are the 4 basic cuts that you want to take note of when you start carving, especially for simple faceted objects like these or the ring. It helps a lot to know why you're tearing out certain parts of the wood. You can save yourself a lot of pain and trouble if you understand which direction your cut is supposed to be going in. Right, so one exercise that you can try is making something like one of these faceted gem like looking blobs. It's a good practice because I don't sand these at all. It's completely car finish, and that really trains you to read the grain to produce like a smooth result all the way around. You can pick any piece of scrap. I would suggest something with a roughly straight grain to start off. I'm going to be using this random half work piece of Marandi, which is interesting because the longitudinal grains are going this way, but it's actually wider than it is long. So there's going to be quite a lot of end grain for me to work through. But yeah, let's see how it goes. Yeah, definitely need your bench pad for this. You will get a lot more familiar with a bench pad through this process because you notice what angles work best for you to secure and anchor your workpiece. Whether you need to cut new shoulders and rivets in your bench pad, whether you need to cut a whole new bench pad for a smaller or bigger piece. And again, chisel safety is like crucial when you do carving, especially because with the home kits, most of you would be using flat chisels to carve. So you notice that as I approach the end grain, I tend to have to cut across the grain a lot more than along the grain. And that's just because I am trying to reduce the size of that huge end grain surface over there. And chisel safety is like super important, but chisel sharpness is also equally important. If you're using a blunt chisel, chances are at some point it's going to stop being able to cut the wood at all and behave more like a file or a rasp than a chisel that can shear material off like that. I think we have some videos on how to sharpen your tools, but a good one to watch would be Guangqi's latest video on how to sharpen plain blades, because that one gives you a good idea of how to set up a sharpening station and yeah, how to maintain the bevels of the chisel. Yeah, so sharp tools are definitely important and make your life a lot easier, provided you use them safely. As a finishing touch, I've just put like a splash of mineral oil on this guy, and you can see it brings out the color very nicely. You can see all the facets are smooth without sandpaper. It doesn't work so well on end grain, kind of just darkens it up. But yeah, I did choose a strange blank for this because of the huge proportion of angry from earlier on. But yeah, you can play around with this and try and get some wooden gems of your own going. It's a good carving exercise to start with. So that's all I have for you in today's video. We basically just learned the basics of reading a grain and how this can help with carving. Go ahead and do some of these practices. I've made mine into some sort of a pendant, but it can also just be a, I don't know, a paperweight or just a decorative wooden gem, whatever tickles your fancy. Anyway, yeah, I'll be doing more videos involving carving with this bench pack and probably applying a lot of what we've learned in this video. So do watch it over again and try and understand what was covered. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed it, do leave a like and subscribe. See you next time.